Forget about the azure water and soft sand. In the world, there is a beach whose official name translates as the shore of those who did not return, or places where lightning strikes the sand with the frequency of a machine gun burst, and hundreds of sharks prowl under your feet. Today, we will reveal the secrets of the most sinister beaches in the world, from the quicksands of Britain to the invisible poisonous killers in the waters of Australia. And in the finale, you are in for a meeting with a real prehistoric monster that rules an entire island and knows no mercy. Our immersion begins right now. 13th place takes us to the coast of sunny Spain. Imagine the perfect advertising poster: azure, almost transparent water, snow-white pebbles, and the gentle Mediterranean sun. This place in the province of Almeria seems like the embodiment of the dream of an ideal vacation. Thousands of tourists head here every year to take impressive shots for social media. However, the name of this coast, Playa del Muerto, translates as the beach of those who did not return. And this is not a marketing ploy to attract fans of mysticism. Here, nature has created one of the most sophisticated traps on the planet, hidden under the mask of absolute calm. The main threat of this place lies in the anomalous structure of the seabed. On most popular resorts, the depth increases gradually, allowing you to feel the ground under your feet. But here, the rules of the game change dramatically. Take just one careless step, and you literally fall into the void. A sharp, almost vertical drop leads into the abyss to a depth of more than 10 meters, just 2 or 3 meters from the shoreline. But even that is not the scariest part. Due to the specific relief and the collision of different water masses, powerful bottom currents arise here that work on the principle of a giant invisible pump. When even a slight wave rises on the surface, it triggers a reverse flow mechanism of incredible destructive force. The water remains so transparent that you do not realize the scale of the danger until it is too late. This current grabs a person and sweeps them out to the open sea at such speed that even athletes with decades of professional training behind them are powerless against the force of the elements. Local rescue services confirm that if someone gets caught in this flow, the chance of a favorable outcome practically disappears. Nature does not forgive carelessness here. You can stand calmly knee-deep in water admiring the horizon, but the next wave can easily knock you off your feet and drag you into the cold abyss from which it is almost impossible to return on your own. This is a coast where the line between a carefree day and a fatal ending is as thin as a thread, and every movement must be calculated to the millimeter. 12th place on our list takes us to the Portuguese city of Nazare, where the ocean shows its most furious and majestic form. If you think you have seen huge waves during a strong storm at familiar resorts, get ready to completely revise your ideas. What happens at Praia do Norte goes beyond ordinary logic and physics. Here, the Atlantic turns into a colossal monster, raising moving water mountains as high as a 10-story building right in front of the shore. Imagine a wall of water 30 meters high rushing toward the shore at express train speed. This is not a place for lazy swimming. This is an arena where man enters into direct confrontation with the most powerful force on Earth. The secret of these liquid skyscrapers is hidden deep in the ocean depths. Right opposite the beach lies the famous Nazare Canyon, a giant underwater crevice whose depth reaches 5,000 meters. For comparison, that is almost 3 times deeper than the Grand Canyon in America. This crevice stretches for 210 kilometers and works like a natural focusing lens. When the powerful energy of Atlantic storms is directed toward land, the canyon multiplies it many times over, pushing colossal volumes of water to the surface. The result is waves whose power is comparable to the energy of a directed explosion. For anyone who is not a world-class professional surfer, attempting to enter this water means a final outcome. Even simply standing on the sand during a strong tide here is deadly dangerous, because the water flows can instantly wash away everything in their path. This is the territory of extremists who spend years preparing to meet these giants. Every attempt to ride such a wave is a balancing act on the edge, where any hesitation or loss of balance causes thousands of tons of furious water to crash down on a person. The ocean here does not just roar, It emits a guttural rumble that makes the ground vibrate under your feet for several kilometers. This place reminds us how insignificant man is in the face of the planet's primordial power, manifested here in the form of these titanic walls of water. 11th place forces us to head to the mysterious coast of India, to the shores of the Arabian Sea. Dumas Beach is a location that causes inner trepidation even among the most convinced rationalists. Its sand is not golden or gray. It has a deep blue-black hue that immediately sets a gloomy mood. But what frightens travelers is not the exotic color of the ground, but the dark past of this place. For many hundreds of years, this territory served as an official site for ritual cremations. According to local beliefs, the black sand did not arise from volcanic activity, but became the product of ordinary earth mixed with the ashes of countless generations of those who ended their journey here. They say that in this place, the veil between our world and something else is thinned to the limit. As soon as the sun disappears behind the horizon and a thick, damp fog creeps onto the shore, Dumas Beach becomes a territory where the usual laws of reality cease to apply. Daredevils who decided to stay here after dark describe frightening phenomena, sudden flashes of light in the void, shadows moving against the wind, and, most chilling of all, an indistinct whisper coming as if from the very ground. These are not just urban legends. Police archives officially record cases of people disappearing without a trace on this coast, when search operations found not even the slightest clue. The behavior of animals in this zone also deserves attention. Dogs that behave friendly elsewhere, when approaching certain sections of the black sand, begin to show signs of uncontrollable fear, howl, and try to run as far as possible from the water. A dense, oppressive atmosphere is felt here even at bright midday, causing many an inexplicable anxiety and the constant urge to look over their shoulder. If you are looking for mystical revelations, this beach will become the embodiment of a nightmare for you. If you trust only facts, then realizing what lies beneath your feet will make your pulse quicken. This is the most mysterious coast in all of Asia, where the wind is never just wind, and every rustle seems like someone's cold presence. 10th place on our list is occupied by Morecambe Bay in the United Kingdom. This place is a true master of illusion, where space and time play by their own extremely cruel rules. At first glance, an endless peaceful sandy plain opens before you, the kind you would love to take a long walk on during low tide. Yet this serenity hides one of the most dynamic natural threats on the planet. Morecambe Bay is famous for the fastest and most unpredictable tides in all of Europe. The speed at which the water returns to reclaim the land sometimes exceeds 9 kilometers per hour, faster than the average running speed of an adult on viscous ground. You can be 2 or even 3 kilometers from the shore, enjoying the sea air, and not notice at all how the trap has slammed shut. But the most insidious danger of the bay is hidden not in the water itself, but directly under your feet. The bottom of Morecambe Bay is literally riddled with patches of quicksand. Hesitate for a moment or choose the wrong route, and you will find the ground has turned into an icy quagmire that has you shackled up to your waist. The physics of this process is such that the harder you struggle to break free, the deeper the sand drags its prey. And while you fight for every centimeter of freedom, a colossal mass of icy water rushes toward you from the horizon. The history of this coast remembers many tragic cases, including the events of 2004, when a group of 21 people found themselves trapped with not a single chance of rescue. The situation is complicated by sudden fogs that envelop the bay within seconds, stripping you of all landmarks. In those moments, you stop understanding where the safe shore is and where the open ocean begins. Local emergency services are forced to use specialized amphibians and tractors just to have a ghostly chance of reaching those in trouble. But even the most modern equipment often proves powerless against the tide schedule, which must be known to the minute. This coast demands extreme concentration from visitors, because here the earth itself can turn into liquid, and the sea into a merciless pursuer from whom escape is impossible. 9th place in the ranking belongs to the black sand beach of Kalapana on the Hawaiian Islands, located right next to one of the most active volcanoes on the planet, Kilauea. This place is a zone of eternal conflict between fire and water, where ordinary ideas of a beach vacation turn to dust. Here you will not find soft sand or shady palms. Instead, an alien landscape of solidified basaltic lava stretches before you. But the main threat here is not the razor-sharp shards of volcanic glass. The very ground under your feet in this area can be heated to temperatures incompatible with life because of invisible streams of magma moving through underground tunnels. When red-hot lava, whose temperature exceeds 1,000 degrees Celsius, reaches the ocean, a powerful thermal explosion occurs. Water in the coastal zone can heat to a rolling boil within seconds. Imagine deciding to cool off in the surf, only to find yourself in a bubbling cauldron instead of refreshing water. Yet even this is not the limit of the danger. Contact between liquid rock and salt water ejects enormous clouds of so-called lava fog into the atmosphere. This whitish steam looks mesmerizing, but it is actually a deadly cocktail of concentrated hydrochloric acid and microscopic particles of volcanic glass. Inhaling such air causes irreparable damage to the respiratory system with a single breath. The beach constantly changes its shape. Where there was solid ground yesterday, molten rock may be bubbling today. You are constantly at the mercy of wind direction and the volcano's whims. The slightest increase in subterranean activity turns a picturesque shore into a zone of ecological disaster, where steam and toxic fumes block visibility for hundreds of meters. This is a place of incredibly frightening beauty, but being here is like standing on the lid of a working giant reactor. Hawaiian nature in this spot shows its true primordial fury, giving man no right even to a momentary mistake. This is a beach meant to be admired from a helicopter, not one whose water you should ever touch. Eighth position is occupied by Kosi Bay in the Republic of South Africa. This is a unique ecosystem of 4 lakes connected by channels to the Indian Ocean. The place looks like a lost world: turquoise water, lush mangrove forests, and deserted sandy spits. Yet this idyllic picture is only a facade, behind which hide the most aggressive inhabitants of the African continent. You will not meet the usual marine animals here, because the true masters of the coast are creatures whose nature is far harsher than that of any land predator. In the waters of Kosi Bay and along its shores, hippos and crocodiles rule. Many mistakenly see the hippo as a clumsy, slow animal. That misconception can be fatal. Hippos are extremely territorial creatures with incredible strength and speed. An adult male can weigh more than 3 tons, yet reach speeds of up to 30 kilometers per hour on land. Escaping such a giant on viscous sand is practically impossible. Their jaws are armed with huge tusks, and their bite force is so great they can easily bite a small boat or any other obstacle in half. Hippos often come ashore in search of food or to defend territory, and any face-to-face encounter leaves a person with no chance of a favorable outcome. Added to this land threat, the coastal waters teem with Nile crocodiles. These ancient reptiles are masters of camouflage, capable of remaining motionless for hours in murky water, imitating a floating log. Their attack is lightning fast. A crocodile needs only a fraction of a second to lunge and drag its prey underwater. In Kosi Bay, you are under double threat. From land, a furious multi-ton giant can attack you, and from the water, a predator whose instincts have been honed over millions of years. Local residents know perfectly well that approaching the water's edge at dusk or dawn means exposing yourself to extreme risk. This is a territory where man instantly loses the status of dominant species and becomes a random target for creatures that know no mercy. Kosi Bay is a wild, primordial shore where the rules of survival are written by the strength and speed of Africa's most dangerous animals. 7th place on our list belongs to Reunion Island in the Indian Ocean, specifically the infamous SNL beach. At first glance, this place looks like a living postcard: emerald slopes of extinct volcanoes, dense tropical forests, and dazzling azure water. Yet behind this idyll lies a harsh reality that has turned one of the world's most beautiful resorts into an exclusion zone. Reunion holds the frightening world record for incidents involving marine predators. The situation here became so critical that the French government was forced to take unprecedented measures, officially banning swimming and water sports on most of the island's coasts under threat of heavy fines. The main culprits of the shark crisis are bull sharks and tiger sharks. These creatures are distinguished by heightened aggressiveness and the ability to enter extremely shallow water. The peculiarity of the SNL relief is that deep oceanic depressions come almost right up to the shore, creating ideal conditions for large predators to hunt. Over the past 10 years, more than 30 recorded attacks have occurred here, many of them ending tragically. Oceanologists still debate the causes of this anomalous activity. Among the theories are ecosystem changes caused by marine reserves and wastewater that attracts fish, and with them, predators. Attempts to secure the beaches with special nets or high-tech electromagnetic repellers here often fail. Powerful tides and the complex volcanic bottom relief make installing barriers practically impossible, and sharks find loopholes in the protection with frightening ingenuity. Today, SNL looks like a disaster movie set. Perfect waves break on the shore, yet there is not a single surfer on them. Numerous warning signs with images of jaws line the water's edge, serving as a stern reminder. In this water, you cease to be a tourist and become a link in the food chain. This is a place where the ocean has clearly marked its boundaries, and anyone who decides to cross them does so at their own peril and risk, understanding that help may simply not arrive in time. Sixth place in our ranking is occupied by the beaches of the city of Darwin in northern Australia. If you think Australian fauna only wants to get you in the desert, you are deeply mistaken. Here, nature has created a truly sophisticated scenario, combining in one body of water two of the planet's most effective hunters. When you step into the warm water of the Timor Sea, you automatically come under the sights of creatures whose encounter almost never leaves a chance of survival. The first threat is saltwater crocodiles, real living fossils that have not changed in the last 200 million years. These monsters can reach 6 meters in length and weigh more than 1,000 kilograms. They feel perfectly at home in saltwater and can develop colossal speed in a lunge, attacking prey from ambush in a fraction of a second. But while a huge reptile can still be spotted, the second inhabitant of these waters is practically invisible. We are talking about jellyfish known as the sea wasp and the irukandji jellyfish. The body of the sea wasp is 95% transparent, making detection in water an impossible task for the human eye. Its tentacles, which can reach 3 meters in length, are covered with millions of stinging cells containing one of the most powerful poisons on the planet. The toxin affects the nervous system, heart, and skin simultaneously. The burn causes such unbearable pain that a person can lose consciousness from shock before even reaching the shore. In Darwin, the swimming season is officially closed for 8 months of the year, from October to May, when jellyfish concentration near the shore becomes prohibitive. But the risk of encountering a crocodile remains constant even in the safer months. Walking on the sand in Darwin, you are constantly in a state of extreme tension. This is a place where nature does not merely defend itself, but launches an active offensive, using both the brute power of huge jaws and invisible biological weapons capable of ending a life in seconds. Fifth place, and the status of one of the most sinister corners of the planet, goes to the Skeleton Coast in Namibia. This is a coast where the scorching sands of Earth's oldest desert meet the icy, stormy waters of the Atlantic. Portuguese sailors of the past called this territory the Gates of Hell, and looking at the landscape, one understands they were not exaggerating. For 500 kilometers, the coastline is strewn with the remains of ships wrecked in these treacherous latitudes. Because of the collision between the cold Benguela current and the hot desert air, thick, impenetrable fogs almost always hang here. Sailors lost their bearings and ran aground with no way back. For those who survived the shipwreck, the ordeal was only beginning. People washed ashore found themselves trapped. Ahead lay thousands of kilometers of waterless desert. Behind them, the ocean, which they could not re-enter because of the ferocious surf. The Skeleton Coast is literally strewn with bones, not only of animals, but also of people whose stories ended here dozens and hundreds of years ago. Yet even today, in the age of satellite communications, this place remains extremely dangerous. A unique and frightening ecosystem has formed here. This is the only place on Earth where desert lions come right down to the ocean. They have adapted to the harsh conditions and hunt seals, and sometimes unwary travelers, right on the sand. Picture it. Among the rusty skeletons of ancient ships and the bones of huge whales, roams a predator you are used to seeing only in the savannah. In addition, one of the world's largest populations of great white sharks lives in these waters, attracted by the multi-thousand colonies of fur seals. Thus, man here is caught between lions on land and sharks in the water. There is no infrastructure for hundreds of miles, and temperatures can swing from scorching heat to piercing cold within a single day. This is a territory of absolute solitude and primordial natural power, where you are left entirely to yourself. Any car breakdown or navigation error can turn your trip into just another legend of this coast. Fourth place on our list belongs to Volusia County in the sunny state of Florida, United States of America. At first glance, this coast seems the embodiment of the American dream: endless golden sands, developed infrastructure, and millions of satisfied tourists who visit local resorts such as Daytona Beach every year. Yet behind this facade hide statistics that make you reconsider your vacation plans. This place is officially recognized as the world capital of lightning strikes. Because of the unique geographical position of the peninsula, squeezed between the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic, an anomalous convection zone forms here. The collision of hot, humid air and cool sea breezes generates an incredible number of thunderstorm fronts that discharge directly over vacationers' heads. Statistics show that the density of lightning strikes here exceeds all conceivable norms, turning an open beach into a giant lightning rod. When a storm approaches, the electrical tension in the air becomes almost tangible, and discharges strike the sand with frightening frequency. Every year, Volusia records more incidents involving celestial electricity than any other spot on the globe. But even if the sky remains perfectly clear, the danger does not disappear. It simply moves underwater. The local coastal waters are home to a colossal number of small and medium predators such as blacktip and bull sharks. Because of sand suspended in the surf, visibility in the water often does not exceed 1 meter, which provokes sharks into so-called mistaken bites. The predator confuses the movement of a human hand or leg with the flash of fish scales and delivers a lightning-fast strike. Although such encounters rarely end in tragedy, their sheer number is striking. In peak years, more than 30 attacks were recorded here in a single season. You find yourself in a double-risk situation. Above you rages the fury of atmospheric electricity. Under your feet, hundreds of perpetually hungry predators prowl. This is a place where nature constantly tests your strength, turning an ordinary vacation into a trial for the nervous system, where every step in the shallows, or every minute spent under a stormy sky, increases the chance of an extremely unpleasant encounter with the power of the elements. In honorable third place, opening the top 3 most extreme locations in the world, is Tiger Beach on the Bahamas Islands. This place challenges every self-preservation instinct humanity has developed over thousands of years. Imagine an absolutely transparent lagoon with turquoise water no deeper than 6 or 7 meters. There are no cages, no steel bars, and no physical barriers between you and some of the most dangerous predators in the ocean. Tiger Beach is the world mecca for divers who want to meet tiger sharks in their natural habitat. These creatures, reaching 5 meters in length and weighing more than 800 kilograms, have a reputation as ocean scavengers because of their ability to consume practically anything they encounter. The uniqueness and madness of this place lie in the fact that you descend to the sandy bottom and simply stand while dozens of massive shadows circle around you. Tiger sharks are extremely curious and brazen. They can swim so close that their snouts end up only centimeters from your face. In that moment, you realize you are not merely an observer, but part of a complex process in which any mistake on your part can provoke an attack. One sharp movement, an attempt to touch the predator, or even a simple change in your breathing rhythm can be interpreted by the shark as a signal to act. You are in the position of live bait, relying solely on the composure of the guides who use special metal poles to carefully redirect these 1.5-ton hunting machines. The psychological pressure at Tiger Beach is colossal. You see every scar on the predator's body, every row of serrated teeth designed to rip open sea turtle shells with ease. This is an uncontrolled show. This is real interaction with wild nature in its most aggressive form. On this beach, the rules are dictated not by the person with the camera, but by the predator whose ancestors dominated the oceans back in the age of dinosaurs. You immerse yourself in a world where hierarchy is built on strength and size. Your stay here depends entirely on whether the shark considers you a worthy target for its next bite. This is the highest degree of adrenaline risk available in modern tourism, where the line between an exciting adventure and a tragic ending is erased in the transparent waters of the Bahamas. Second place in our ranking goes to Playalinda Beach, located in the state of Florida, United States of America. This coast represents an incredible, almost surreal contrast found nowhere else on our planet. The beach lies within the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge and sits right next to the facilities of the Kennedy Space Center. This is the only place where you can witness the triumph of 21st century high technology while surrounded by fauna that has not changed in the last 70 million years. On one side of the horizon, you see colossal launch pads from which multi-ton rockets rise into the sky.
On the other, sandy dunes from which a threat from the prehistoric era can appear at any moment. The main feature of Playalinda is that its full masters are wild American alligators. These reptiles, reaching 4 meters in length, feel completely at home on this coast. They regularly emerge from freshwater swamps onto the salty ocean beach sand to bask in the sun.
Picture it. You are relaxing on your towel while an armored giant slowly crawls across the sand 10 meters away, an animal whose bite is among the most powerful in the animal kingdom. But alligators are not the only problem here. The coastal waters of Playalinda literally teem with bull sharks, known for their ability to enter brackish areas and display unprovoked aggression. The combination of space-age technology and primordial danger creates an atmosphere of extreme tension. You are in a zone where every step you take is watched by the eyes of predators hidden in the dunes or beneath the water. The history of the refuge records many cases of alligator attacks on people who were too careless about the boundaries of their territory. Playalinda Beach demands constant vigilance from visitors. While you watch another rocket launch on the horizon, a threat creeping from the surf or grass thickets may be far closer than you think. This is a place where the boundaries between humanity's future and its distant past intersect, reminding us that even on the threshold of exploring other planets, we remain vulnerable to Earth's ancient forces. Playalinda is a visual masterpiece that can turn into a nightmare in a single second if you forget, even for a moment, who is truly the master of this wild shore. And finally, the gold of our ranking. First place belongs to the legendary and frightening shores of Komodo Island in Indonesia. This place looks as though you have stepped onto the set of a film about the prehistoric era. The island is famous for its unique beaches with pink sand that acquires its hue from the mixing of white calcium and tiny particles of red coral. Yet behind this incredible aesthetics hides primordial horror. You are entering the territory of the last living dragon on the planet, the Komodo dragon. These giant reptiles are the official masters of the national park. Here it is you, not they, who are the uninvited guest whose chances of survival depend solely on the whim of chance. Komodo dragons are the largest lizards in the world, capable of reaching more than 3 meters in length and weighing 70 to 100 kilograms. Their existence remained unknown to the Western world until the beginning of the 20th century, until 1910. The dragon is an ideal hunting machine whose instincts have not changed in 4 million years. They possess an incredibly acute sense of smell. With their forked tongue, they can detect the scent of potential prey up to 9.5 kilometers away. This means that the moment you set foot on the shore, the predators already know you are there. The main misconception of many tourists is that the dragons appear slow and clumsy. In reality, at the moment of attack, this giant can reach speeds of up to 20 kilometers per hour, making escape across sand practically impossible for an ordinary person. But even this is not their most terrible weapon. For a long time, it was believed that only dangerous bacteria lived in the monitor lizard's saliva. Yet in 2009, scientists discovered fully developed venom glands. A single light bite is enough. After that, the predator will cold-bloodedly follow you, waiting for the inevitable outcome. On the beaches of Komodo Island, you are never safe, even if you decide to go into the water. These reptiles are excellent swimmers, capable of covering significant distances between islands. The only protection available to you here are local rangers armed solely with long wooden poles with forked ends, which they use to pin the lizard's neck if it attempts an attack. History, however, records quite a few cases when even experienced guides did not have time to react to a lightning-fast lunge from ambush. There is no infrastructure here capable of protecting you, no fences, no enclosures. You walk on the pink sand, knowing that in any coastal thicket, a 100-kilogram predator may be lying in wait, for whom you are simply another link in the food chain. This is, without doubt, the most thrilling and dangerous beach that can be found in the modern world. Nature is not obliged to be hospitable. As you have seen today, behind the perfect advertising poster, there is often a finely honed mechanism for liquidation. These shores are a reminder that man is only a guest in a world ruled by primordial elements and ancient predators. Which place impressed you the most? The Skeleton Coast with its lions, or the Pink Island with its venomous dragons? Write in the comments, like, and subscribe to the channel. Take care of yourself, and see you in new travels.